Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike here at Gamefromscratch, and everyone's favorite company, Adobe, just continue to have a great time. So early on, back in the beginning of June, they updated their EULA, and there was a lot of really questionable things in there. They've tried to clarify it since, walk it back, done a new EULA since, but a lot of people were just like, no, I'm done. Final straw, camel's back is broken, I am canceling my subscription. Well, there's the thing. Canceling your subscription with Adobe has always been a mess. In fact, it is a mess to the point where the DOJ has actually sued them over this. A combination of them making it exceedingly hard to cancel your subscription, and then these hidden ETF or early termination fees that were also in there as well. So the DOJ, the U.S. Department of Justice, actually filed suit against them. This was about 10 days after their whole EULA, let's go and piss all of our customers off speed run. Again, they're just trying to take Unity's 2023 crown and just destroy it. So anyways, this was filed by the U.S. DOJ, and part of that document that was filed, so this is the filing from the U.S. DOJ. What you're going to notice if you go through that document, there's a lot of redacted statements here. A lot of redacted statements. Whenever you kind of read redacted statements, you always like to make the assumption that whatever was written behind them is the worst thing possible, right? It's just human nature for us to assume that which we can't see is awful. Well, the thing is, the judge behind this case decided that, nah, this didn't need to be redacted after all, so this is suddenly unredacted. And so we got a full-on clear view of the DOJ's suit and their perspective on this, and there are a couple of damning statements here. And the biggest one, the one that is definitely catching headlines, it does not look good for Adobe. So actually, we scroll on down here, so you're going to notice again, no redactions now, which is kind of nice, but we're going to go on to page 2, and we're going to scroll down to section 4. And we're going to read this one. Defendants knew or know that these inadequate APM, so monthly payment plans, disclosure harm and mislead customers, but continue to engage in these unlawful practices because better disclosure would hurt Adobe's bottom line by reducing subscription and revenue. As one Adobe executive admitted, the hidden ETF, so the early exit fees, is a bit like heroin for Adobe. There is absolutely no way to kill off early transfer fees or early termination fees, or talk about it more obviously, in other words, make people know that early termination fees exist without taking a big business hit. I don't know, game, set, match? That's pretty awful. Now, since this was actually released, Adobe has come out and said that the executive behind these particular comments was not directly involved in the decision and so on and so forth. It comes down to, do you believe them on this or not? But truth of the matter is, if you have executives at your company openly talking about how the ETFs are heroin for Adobe, that does not look good. And then we're going to move on to the next category, so number 5 here. So if we go back to the redacted land, you're going to find that on page 2, this entire sentence was redacted, or paragraph was redacted, and so was this one. So let's see what was said in paragraph 5. Adobe's misconduct simply does not start with concealing key APM, again, monthly subscriptions, plan terms to maximize profits. Adobe utilizes other onerous cancellation procedures to trap consumers in subscriptions they no longer want. Consumers attempting to cancel online are forced to navigate numerous hurdles, including hidden cancellation buttons and multiple unnecessary steps, such as pages devoted to password reentry, retention offers, surveys, and warnings. Consumers attempting to cancel via phone or chat experience dropped calls and chat, significant wait times, and repeated transfers. Adobe used a dedicated retention team to discourage subscribers who try to cancel. Adobe relies on such obstacles to thwart cancellations and retain their subscription revenues, depriving consumers of a simple mechanism to cancel as required by law. So those are 2 of the probably most stinging statements that have been non-redacted as of right now. Again, the original document, quite a bit was redacted. I'm not going to go through the rest of them. Again, those are definitely the biggies that people are focusing on right now, but there is a bunch more to it. And a lot of it is around, again, their monthly subscriptions and how they've actually built the cost of early transfer fees into it so that they make more money off of the back end, plus how they're misleading about how everything works. So basically, about being a scumbag company. And this heroin conversation, this heroin comment, a bit like heroin for Adobe. Absolutely no way to kill off ETF or talk about it more obviously without taking a big business hit. Ouch. So that one hurts. So there's been a couple of sites running on this one. The Register is where I became aware of it. The Verge also has an article about this as well. Pretty much the same summary. Kind of goes through it. We've got a bit of a response from General Counsel and Chief Trust Officer at Adobe. Okay, I'm not going to laugh at that statement. Providing consistent innovation through flexible subscription plans that fit different customer needs, timelines, and budgets is the best way to serve millions of customers. We strongly disagree with this lawsuit's characterizations of our businesses, and we will refute the FTC's claim in court. The complaint is taking an offhand comment out of context from years ago. Out of the tens of thousands of documents Adobe provided to the FTC, the early termination fees equate to minimal impact to our revenue, accounting for less than 0.5% of our total revenue globally, but is an important part of our ability to offer customers a choice and plans that balance cost and commitment. So that is the Adobe response to these statements now being unredacted. So yeah, that's it. Again, the cancellation, the inability to cancel is a big part of this, and I think I've seen it in my comments from these past Adobe videos that so many of you have run into this having an absolute nightmare of trying to cancel your subscription or move away from Adobe. Some of you just went cancel and it was done. And apparently there was a workaround where you could actually upgrade to another version of Creative Cloud. Then you'd be in a grandfathered time window that you could cancel immediately without ETF. Look that up. There used to be a hack that you could get away without paying early cancellation fees. See if that has been closed or not. But yeah, that is it. Final statement, this is someone's message to the CEO of Adobe about trying to cancel. They wrote directly to the CEO saying, I am desperate. I no longer know how to get help. I am writing for the umpteenth time. I have made written online requests galore. I have made 4 phone calls to Adobe's advertised phone numbers. I get no help online and no help by phone. Instead, I spend an hour being transferred from one person to another and eventually being hung up on. What does it take to cancel the subscription? So that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Adobe statements are being redacted or unredacted, available publicly, and apparently it's like heroin. So, yeah, that does not look good. I know Adobe's saying, okay, this isn't the executive in question, but that is a pretty clear statement from someone within your company with documents that you yourself provided to the DOJ that it makes you look pretty damn guilty. So what do you think about this? Does it just keep getting worse for Adobe? It seems like it. So this looks like a slam dunk lawsuit, at least so far from the DOJ, but it'll be interesting to see how this one ultimately turns out. And once again, how have your experiences been with Adobe? Have you tried to cancel it? What did you get? Did you go through this pain as well? Or was it a flawless experience for you? Or are you just sticking with Adobe and you're fine in all of it? Let me know. Comments down below. I will talk to you all later. Goodbye.